and welcome to another wonderful Well-Being Wednesday. I'm so happy to have you here. I am Karen Keener, your host, and also known as the Sovereign Mom. If you're watching this on Substack, you'll know that I'm at the substack.sovereignmom.com or something like that. Anyway, today I have the pleasure, the privilege, and the honor to welcome a dear friend. She is a healer of sorts. She does ritual gatherings at her home that I've been invited to and blessed to be a part of. She is a wealth of knowledge on all kinds of sabbats and rituals. She's done study with shamans. She does all kinds of plant medicine, which is what I want to share with you today. She owns the company Three Fates Magic, and I'm so lucky to have her as a friend. Thank you and welcome Jenn Krelo from Three Fates Magic.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking with me.
All right, Jenn. So the topic of the day is well-being. So the first question I have for you is, what is your idea of well-being?
Oh gosh, that is such an awesome question, because I feel that a lot of us haven't really known what that is, actually, well-being. And for me, like, I've discovered what it means for me through a lot of hardships and a lot of trials and a lot of issues with my health, and my well-being. And what I've come to realize is that well-being encompasses everything. It encompasses everything that we are and all of the different parts of ourselves. And when we can welcome all those things, even the things that we don't like or the things that don't feel good, they have a definite message and a contribution to show us and to share with us, so that we can realize our own wholeness. And so that's what it means to me, is wholeness. And
Yeah.
it's not all fluffy and it doesn't feel good all the time, but it is always helping us to integrate certain things that we may not have seen or we may not have known, and so it is helping us to remember and to know ourselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then the fact that you said it's not always fluffy, it's not always the stuff that we feel good or that we're drawn to naturally that's going to contribute to that wholeness. And so there are some shadow aspects to becoming whole or to feeling whole. However, I would say that plenty of the wellness practices and rituals, as you have brought them into my experience in my life, have been very enjoyable, very fun even. And I'm just going to share like a slew of products that you have available that I have been trying and using consistently to the chill out tea. That's a favorite of mine. We've got the balsam for chai. Let's see if that will focus for us. Balsam for chai, totally yummy, amazing. This one is helping me sometimes sleep, but it's also helping me when I wake up and I have something where I'm feeling off or like I'm coming down with something, and I just realized I need to rest, reset, and restore. And then I have, of course, this one is new to me. This is the Joyful Hearts blend, and I love this. Has a lot of great stuff in it. And my all-time favorite, of course, I can't forget this, the Dandy Chocolate Coconut. This is like the best thing. It's amazing. And so these rituals with these teas and everything else, for me, they bring about like mindfulness. And I've been talking a lot about in my blogs about the difference between rituals and routines. And to me, a ritual screams mindfulness, I'm sitting down, or it sings mindfulness. Whereas a routine feels like rut. I feel like, okay, I've gotten into a rut, or I'm just doing the same things over and over. And if I get out of it, then I have to start it up again, where a ritual feels like this is fun every time. This is enjoyable every time. And so I want to speak to you because you hold rituals and you use ritual practices, what your thoughts are on the ideas and the work, the inner work, the inner light that rituals bring into our lives.
What you said too about ritual and routine, and it is kind of funny because sometimes it is something that we just fall into, the daily grind of just going through the motions and all of that. And, one of the messages that I got, when I received when I was asking for help, was it wasn't like a grand, oh, you have to change all these things. It was just like, keep doing what you're doing, just do it more consciously. And then if we can bring that attention, yeah, to the act of what we are doing or what we're with, it does make it a little more magical, and we can connect to certain parts of ourselves that we have felt disconnected from. And so, yeah, I do feel like ritual is so valuable, and it doesn't take much to have a ritual. We can make it elaborate as we want to, and put as much creativity and energy into it, or it can just be as simple as sitting with our tea and taking that 5 minutes in the morning to start our day and to realize all the gifts that we are receiving and everything that's available to us and that we can offer and receive for ourselves. And life is always giving things to us. Life is always talking to us. It's just, are we here to listen? It's just like this one quote, I think it came from Michael Mead's book, Awakening the Soul, was everything is alive and talking to you. And so
Mm.
it's like so amazing that the plants, we can actually have relationships, more conscious relationship with the plants, and the plants can help us remember like our part in the whole and our relationships with all. So the plants are such a beautiful, just allies. They're beautiful allies and teachers for us. And I started working with them, oh gosh, really intensely in 2012, when I had met a few shamans that, when we're ready to learn, like the outer teacher sometimes appears for us. And like that was a definite window and opportunity for me to come back to myself and explore some of my own gifts. And because I had met these beautiful people that had such beautiful gifts to share, they helped me see like that I had my own. And so that's what I want to give back, is just remembering, that we all do have those gifts, and we all are gifts, and we all need each other. We all need each other's gifts and contributions, because we're all part of that whole. And that's a part of like well-being and being whole, is remembering we're whole, that, one whole within the greater whole.
Hmm. Yes, I totally believe that we are part of something just greater than ourselves. And it's it's good to have rituals to remind us of this. So you're talking about shamans. Did you end up studying with these shamans?
I did work with a few for a couple years, and I did some shamanic dietas, which are, spiritual diets to connect with the plant. And with these diets or these dietas, it takes a lot of commitment, and it takes like some giving up of the things that we usually like cutting out sugar, cutting out different kinds of foods, cutting out salt for a week, cutting out sex, just so removing all of the all of the maybe go to, this is what I'm going to do to feel better, or this is, like just kind of clearing the space, opening the space for the plant to take root within us, so that we can learn and have that plant teach us through that act of sacrifice, which is to make sacred. We're making room for like parts of ourselves. And it's kind of like digestion in a way, you know. Sometimes it's good to go on a fast to reset things,
Hmm.
and then open up that space for something new to come in, and yeah, and for new seeds to be planted.
Okay, so I am very familiar with the benefits of fasting and the practice of fasting and the experience of fasting. However, I'm not as familiar with this term dieta. So, were you taking the herb as a tea and then doing it for like a particular period of time? How does that work?
How I began with the spiritual dietas, with the plant dietas, was in early 2012 with a group who were just starting, and the shaman had been given um, a list of plants that we would be working with in the next couple of years. And so we started with the plant with the osha root, and that is connected to bear medicine. And it has a special, yeah, it's a special relationship. It has a special relationship with the bear. And so the bear holds a lot of qualities too. And the osha root is native to Utah. So it was kind of awesome to know all of these things, to learn about the plant and to learn about what systems it works on within us. And OSHA is really good for the respiratory system, and it's good for the lungs. And it also, yeah, the bear has correspondences to the third eye and to the pineal gland and to the womb, and like that womb within the earth, to go within, to hibernate, and like kind of acknowledging the different phases and the different seasons that we go through and the growth cycles and all of that. And so what it was the shaman prepared our roots for each person who was committed to coming and, you know, giving their attention and their intentions to the diet. And in this kind of a place, yeah, we're opening ourselves up to a lot of things. And so a lot of crazy, weird things can happen during this time when we open ourselves up to that. Like certain changes, certain shifts will happen like immediately in our lives during this diet process. And yeah, it could feel like really harsh sometimes, but other times it feels just so incredibly beautiful. And it's such a great way to come back home to ourselves. And for me, yeah, it was the first 8 days where kind of gave up all those other things, like that we kind of just don't even think about, like the sugar and like different, yeah, other kinds of foods, salt, just to make space for the plant. And then we continue. So each day we sit with the tea, we make the tea, and give ourselves some sacred time and space to sit with the tea and just meditate and receive whatever's coming in. And so we have that time, but it doesn't stop just because our meditation stops. It's just continually working on us and working in us and working through us. And so it's just fun to see that through that 30-day diet of like really getting to know the plant and letting it kind of help us make certain changes in our lives that we didn't even know like would serve us.
So you're talking about, like, I guess I figured you were trying something for a few days, but you're talking about fasting for giving up sugar for a month and getting into this plant, and maybe even fasting a little bit so that it's just you and the plant in communion with one another, learning the lessons it has to teach you, or figuring out what health or nutritional properties it has and how it affects your body positively or negatively. And as getting into this kind of communion. And that sounds really powerful.
I can't even describe some of the dreams that came in, and some of the things that happened and shifted in my own like family and relationships with friends, people who were no longer aligned with me. They just kind of got cleared out, and um, just kind of a lot of things came up during that time to help me see where I wasn't in alignment with what I really needed for my well-being. But it was really, really beautiful in a lot of ways, to start feeling and connecting to my own heart and to, yeah, to the love that I'm here to be. So
And what a love that is. I mean, well, what a love you are. And that reminds me of how we met. And we met through an in person gathering. at Danielle's house. Danielle is someone I hope to have on my program for future meetings, and big shout out to her. And um, from there, you ended up extending me an invitation to your own gathering, sacred gathering rituals at the Sabbat. Um, I'm not going to say this right, but it it's always like, okay, what's this weird Wiccan, or what is this? My upbringing goes, what is this weird ritualistic stuff? But I do embrace it. And because the events that you hold are life affirming. And I was explaining to the kids the other day about like spiritual teachings and different religions and different philosophies and even policies, like political or whatever, and that the merit of any philosophy that I explained to how I explained it to my kids is whether it's based on life affirming principles, or if it's based on, I don't want to say like hedonism or immediate gratification is always bad. Like, it's great to get what you want when you want it. Um, but sometimes, like you were talking about, how some of the healing process isn't always fluffy. Sometimes you have to fast, sometimes to get the lesson, sometimes you need to eat the salad, or eat something that and skip the pie or skip the sugar. Those types of things sometimes are a decay to health and a detriment to life. So I look at it like there's two philosophies in the world. There's like life affirming philosophies, or pro-life type philosophies, and pro-health type philosophies. And then there's pro-death, pro-decay, pro-disease, pro-disaster. And so I have these, like, kind of like, you can see if something is going towards depravity, or it's going towards decay, or it's not that it's necessarily bringing about death like that. It's more that if you follow this course, you know that you're going against your health. You know you're going towards something that's not as healthy for you, or not going to like help your goals in the long run. Even like when I talk about boundaries, it's like, here's the short-term win, and here's like what you really want inside your boundaries. And is this thing that you want right now, is that going to bring about the big picture of what you really want in the future, or is it going to delay that? And so if it's kind of one of those kind of things where you have to decide for yourself, but and the merit to me of a philosophy is whether it's going towards chaos, disaster, disease, death, decay, or if it's going towards love, life, harmony, warmth, gatherings, togetherness, life affirming growth, evolution, the true progress. Funny, because the progressive party, what things are called progressive right now, it's almost like that misnomer, that Orwellian blah, where everything that is claimed or considered to be progress is really regressive. I call it the regressive mindset, because a lot of it is really let's do this thing right now in a hurry to make our feelings feel good. That's not really good for the long term of humanity, or final outcomes of like future generations seeing the kind of prosperity and freedom that they would hope to have otherwise. So in saying that, it is evident that the way that you honor traditions and the way you lead your gatherings are life affirming. So do you want to talk more about your philosophy on that, please?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we really do need, is life affirming activities, and those reminders of life, and that we are part of life, and that we can choose to live. And healing isn't always comfortable either. Sometimes it's a big mess, and it really sometimes healing our wounds actually can hurt more, or feel like they hurt more than sustaining the original injury. And what I was given through like messages through my spirit guides and my higher self was that honoring these times of the year, they're the sabbats, and there's all sorts of traditions, and these are power days, and we're going through different shifts and different changes about every 6 weeks. And so these are the sabbats and the days, the holy days to observe, and so that we can reorient ourselves, because we have a lot of us have felt so upside down and so disconnected that we need like some kind of a system to help us get rooted and grounded and reconnected and reoriented to where we actually are. And so observing and following and honoring these sabbats can help us like realize where we are, where we've been, where we're going, all those things. And to observe like all the different connections, because we're all interconnected and life is interconnected. And it's so beautiful, this web of life and this tapestry, that we can observe and see all the correspondences at all these points, these power points of the year. And so each one has its own qualities and its own energy to work with. And we can, when we observe these things for ourselves and for each other and for life, we can tap into and access this energy, because it's got momentum to help us with our own goals and our own life affirming passions and dreams, and all those things that are important to us, to honor the things that we do love and to nurture the life that's important to us in our own lives, so we can live that in love.
Yeah, I agree. And as you pointed out, we did get separated from our rituals and from our traditions, but even our togetherness, like in person. We have a society that's just kind of undervaluing these in-person meetings. Here we are meeting on Zoom, and we both live in Utah, but like the traditions around the times of harvest, or when plants naturally would grow, or when it would be time to do things together, to plant, to sow, to reap, to do these different things, and to hibernate, to spend more time indoors, to spend more time doing different traditional things together. I feel like it's in harmony with the land, it's in harmony with the seasons, and it harkens back to do these rituals to something that feels eternal, real, and significant. So it feels like it's almost in our DNA to celebrate these moments together and to get together with other people. It feels like as timeless and eternal as the earth itself. And so we're just naturally inclined to feel right when we get together at these times.
It definitely is healing for us to be together and share those things, that really do nurture and feed us and affirm our own lives, and ritual too. I forget what Joseph Campbell says about that, but it's pretty much like the enactment of a myth. And so it is really healing for our psyche to just grab a few different objects for ourselves and kind of act something out, like creatively, through our own intuition and through our own wonder and our curiosity and that childlike openness to life and to all this beauty around us. And so it is, it can like spark some kind of change or activate something. If we are acting out something in a way, it does have an effect on what happens, on the shift that it has within us. And so it's as within, as without, or, so as above, so below.
Yeah.
All of that. And so it's not separate, even though we have been living in kind of a fragmented consciousness that reinforces for us that we are separate and that we are powerless and that, we are alone. And, it's interesting too, like with the false lens that's been given to us to use to see ourselves in each other, that's just the false image. And so what it is instead of giving so much energy and attention to that false image, let's actually go within and cultivate and nurture our true vision and embody that vision of who we really are, instead of giving our power away to that false lens or that false image, which is very easily infiltrated and manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Things, how do I say, people, organizations, media, even like churches can be corrupted and bought and influenced and get us away from like reality and the truth that we are inside and the world that we want to create. And there's a point in which we almost start to doubt our reality because of, you know, what we experience with our senses, we're told isn't even the truth. Because of how good and how much money goes into the marketing of like the false self, and the propaganda is working on us because you just hear it so many times over and over again. You're just like, wow, this like consensus of noise seems to be telling me that like not to even trust my own senses. It's kind of a crazy time. When I talked to Nathan Frazier in episode 10 a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned why a lot of times that even like vision boards and mantras and that kind of stuff doesn't work. And it's because sometimes those things will hit us on a conscious level. So we'll be saying them and consciously go, yeah, this is what I want to create. This is what I want to know intellectually. But our subconscious is still getting all these other messages. And so it doesn't always believe the the simple truth of the matter. It doesn't even believe our senses. And so even though we have vision boards and we have all these mantras and we do these external intellectual things to convince ourselves of the truth and remind ourselves of the truth, it still sometimes doesn't really bring about the change that we'd like to see in our lives and in the world in general. And he pointed out, you know, you can kind of go past all the negative messaging and cut to it. It's using the tools that they use. He's like, marketing companies spend tons of money to like find ways to get into your subconscious, right? And he talked about how sigils and symbols speak to like a deeper subconscious mind that bypass our intellectual methods and our intellectual minds and the ways we try to do things. And this is why humanity's been using symbols for eons and sigils for eons and different types of rituals for eons. I think is because it goes back to that, like what hits the subconscious is what we're going to believe, regardless of how many times we tell ourselves consciously, like this is true, it has to be, I saw it with my own eyes. But then that like negative messaging using this our symbology and the stuff that our subconscious wants to grasp onto, um it's like, so we have to reprogram our own subconscious mind using these different traditions that our subconscious picks up on and reads. And so I feel like humanity understands fundamentally the significance of reaching the subconscious mind. Obviously marketing does, and using rituals and symbols and whatever, because our subconscious picks up on them and they have so much power in, over and around and through our lives. So stuff that we need to take seriously, even if it's outside of our comfort zone, so to speak. I don't know.
Yes. Symbols are the language of the soul, and our soul understands this language. And they are it's just like a picture is worth 1,000 words, kind of a thing, where a symbol can be anything to anyone in any context, but like what it means to us or how it appears to us in the moment, like can show us different things about ourselves and what our soul is asking us to move toward or to connect with or to integrate and all of those things. And so, but these ancient ways of healing, it is the art of the divine feminine And that has been really devalued, and kind of subverted and taken hostage from us. But we get to reclaim it, for ourselves, the art of healing, because the cool thing about life is it is self-healing. And if we can remember that that our bodies do have that ability to heal, it just needs a little attention, and we need to open up, like, communication with it again. And yeah, just receive the messages, tune in, and listen. Just listen a little more. Our body holds a lot of wisdom, and our body can help us through this process.
So, speaking of symbols, I love this one that you have chosen for your brand. Um, Tell me more about this symbol. What is this symbol? Tell me more about this one.
Yes, that is the triple spiral, and there's also, gosh, it'll come to me, the name of it. Yeah, I took notes about it, like just about 6 months ago, because I found out some more things about it that I hadn't known before. But I've always been attracted to the spiral. The spiral has been one of my favorite symbols of all time, and I had no idea why until I started looking into more about what it actually is and what it means, for consciousness and for regeneration, for regenerating life and honoring that life and being a part of life.
So, you had us do a blah, 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 spiral walk on one of the Sabbath celebrations that we did with you at your house, and it was kind of like a labyrinth, and I think it was about uh, um, starting things and completing things, or endings and beginnings, or letting go, receiving and letting go. It was something like that, and it was very powerful walking the spiral in and out at that gathering with everyone around. It was really very cool.
I believe that was, yeah, it was just kind of a spontaneous thing. And I didn't realize how powerful that was actually going to be for all of us. I just thought, I mean, because a lot of it, a lot of ritual, what we're doing is we're just kind of pretending. It's just kind of like being a kid again, where we don't really have to know what we're doing. We're just enjoying in the moment, and we have like a certain intention that we're moving towards. And wow, I had no idea. It was just such a simple little walk. We were all in a circle, and we all took our little walk, because it was our own path that we take. Some things we have to do on our own, but we're never really alone. We're supported by the whole. And so that's like a really powerful way. And I feel like the things that maybe we weren't conscious about it, like our soul kind of knew like what was going on there and how it could help shift certain things for us. Just that simple act of walking or doing a walking meditation, walking with intention.
That day, having others share and support in our journey did feel really powerful, and very supportive, to have that kind of collective um sharing and group experience. I want to get back to how you got personally into practicing plant medicine. So, do you want to tell me, like, kind of how your journey began with all of this?
Oh yeah. So I've just always loved tea, like since my 20s. I had a sister that really, really liked like the celestial seasonings tea, and she would drink it in the winter. And yeah, I started drinking that, and I was like, yeah, this actually feels really good. I didn't realize how comforting warm drinks were for me. And it's just ever since then, yeah, just been trying different teas, interested in what different plants do. But yeah, I started making them for myself. Oh gosh, maybe in 2015 or 2016, just playing a little more with the herbs, just doing simple things, and just kind of learning how to um, bring myself back into harmony, because I had gone through a lot of struggles with my health and well-being, and with going through just a lot of depression and anxiety, and going into certain destructive patterns of addiction to kind of escape certain pains, because I didn't know what else to do with it. But the plants have taught me a lot about our own power, and like the gifts and the love that creator and creation and Mother Earth have for us. And just really just enjoying kind of just mixing up different things, because, oh, this will help with this, or these are good herbs for the summertime to help us cool down, or, and just enjoying like just that creativity and the alchemy of just playing with different things. And then really loving what I'm creating, and it feels really good to me. And then I share it with others, and they love it so much that it's even a bonus, like that they love it as much as I do, and they benefit from it, and it inspires them to look at their own well-being and take care of themselves in different ways. And so that's been the fun part for me. And then just being encouraged, seeing how much of a positive response I've gotten just from sharing things, just because I do them because I love them, and then sharing them with other people that I love, and then having that love just grow, and it just always gives back to itself. And it's just so awesome to play with it, and to see and do it for joy. It would suck all the joy out of it for me if it was about making money, or about but it is about livelihood, and it is about the art of living.
Yeah, it is. It's so important to examine our relationship with our livelihoods and the idea of livelihood. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun just to kind of pay attention, to kind of listen, and to see what kind of herbs are coming up at certain times of the year for a lot of us, to help correct certain imbalances. Because I mean, illness and disease, that's just a sign or a symptom of an excess or a deficiency, and is showing us where we can come into balance and harmony within ourselves. But it's always like we're always growing multidimensionally, so it's never going to be static. Okay, I found my balance. And no, it's always it's always something we'll be working with as we grow a little more, and we find that balance. And then we integrate some things and contract for a little while, and then we expand some more, and we grow some more, and then we find a new balance, and a new way of being whole. And so it is just always always changing, and we're always growing, even in
I
those times of stagnation, when we need to go through those periods of decay and deterioration. It's
I
all
feel
part.
I I have to say, I feel like I've gone through my own little dieta or whatever with the dandy chocolate coconut that you make. It has seen me through a year now of just ups and downs, whatever life changes throw at me, or whatever hard day or chaos or hell that I seem to go through during a day. It's just it's there for me at the end of the day to like sit down and drink it and look in hindsight, like with my cup of chocolate. I actually take all your teas. I immediately put them in my coffee grinder. I buzz them until they are a complete powder, just like hot, what you would put in hot chocolate or whatever. So I ground everything down to a powder, and then pour it back in the jar, and then scoop out like a little scoop for my day. And then I just add a little touch of molasses. And then I like that nut pods creamer. And so I add the nut pods creamer, and then I have my little cup, and I'm in heaven. It's just, so good. So yummy.
I'm so glad you love it. That one is a delicious one. Uh, Dandelion chocolate, and it's so nourishing.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, it's just like Yeah, and it doesn't matter how hard of a day it's been. It's sipping my chocolate at the end of the day is like a touchstone for me to say it's over now and I can relax and let it go. It's just done.
Brings us back to our senses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you put so many wonderful ingredients in it. Just reading them here, we have the obviously the cacao nibs, dandelion root, coconut, cinnamon, ginger, chili pepper, black pepper. Wait, what's chicory root? What is that? What is chicory root? I don't
Oh,
even know what
chicory
that.
root. It's yeah, it's definitely it's got a bitter flavor, and they sometimes use that in place of chocolate, or I don't know if you've heard of like carob, like
Yeah.
there's chicory. Sometimes like in vegan chocolates and stuff, I think they have used like chicory because it goes well with the chocolate, and I feel like it goes well with the dandelion too. But yeah, I'm still a beginner. I'll be like a student for the rest of my life, but I love teaching too. And so I don't know like everything, but it just makes me curious. Like, oh, I could find out a little bit more about like, oh, is there benefits to chicory? What are those? And you know, all those things. But I know it's got a good taste, especially with the dandelion. Yeah, the coconut.
Amazing. It is miraculous. Yeah. And as you know, I ordered some of the dandy chocolate coconut for my friend Deanna. What a tongue twister. And she started drinking it. She's now incorporated it as a ritual for herself as well. Like every night, she's like, I have to have this every night. And she said, I'm looking at the ingredients and I think I can make it home, but there's like a certain amount of experience that you have using making these and creating these, that you have your little magic sauce of like how much of this and how much of that and a little less of that, a little more of this, and it came out perfect. And so it's like it would be starting a whole huge process for us to try to put this together. And her response was, I just don't want to mess with perfection, and I feel the same way. It's absolutely perfect.
It's so fun to create. It's so fun just to, oh, let's play with this. Oh, this needs a little more of this. And it's just such a fun alchemical ritual, like of creating, you know.
It sounds fun. I'm also enjoying the Joyful Heart tea, which has blue lotus in it, which I think blue lotus can be a psychedelic if it's smoked, but if you drink it in tea, it's just relaxation, euphoria inducing herb. And I think that's right. Is that right?
Um, you know, I guess it just depends on each person too. But it can put us into like that state of presence. And it does have a connection to our intuition. So it does help us open up to our own intuitive gifts and our own inner knowing and all of that. And blue lotus is a beautiful flower and a beautiful plant, yeah, that the ancient Egyptians drank all the time. And I haven't really worked with blue lotus like that much, except for in the last couple months I was inspired to like, and I have a little sample here. I don't know if you can see it. It's so pretty, like all the colors together, like in this joyful hearts.
Yes.
With the rose petals. The rose petals are all about like opening up to love. And blue lotus is about intuition, and chamomile is inner peace, and holy basil is wealth. And so all of those together, and then Babansana, that I just was learning about in the fall time of last year. Babansana is all about trust. And so I felt like this would be a wonderful tea to share for winter solstice, because I feel like trust is a huge thing in our relationships, and the trust that we have in ourselves, and repairing some of that trust that's been broken, or hasn't been honored, and so I feel like in each one of us, like we have our own, like our own trust that we can develop and cultivate and remember, like the trust that we have in life, the trust that we have in ourselves, the trust that we have in the earth, and her support for us, and our support for each other and for her, because there is no separation. And so yeah, just working with all of these beautiful plants, um and yeah, enjoying like just consciously receiving them, and acknowledging like the beauty, like, and the parts, uh that they hold for us, like in helping us to know ourselves and to remember ourselves and to be with ourselves. And so, but there are all different kinds of ways to enjoy different plants. Some of those ways are through, the easiest way is through drinking tea. And that's such a great way to be able to use that and to bring it into ourselves. But there are other plants that can be smoked, and they can come into the bloodstream quicker than, say, a cup of tea or a tincture.
I was going to say, you also have tinctures, which you have like
Mhm.
a wall of them behind you that
Yes, I do.
you scented. What are your favorite tinctures?
My favorite ones, yeah, one that I made about a year ago called Heart and Soul, because I really felt like just needed to support women's health and the heart, because I felt like, our heart has really been under distress, and has actually kind of felt like attacked in a lot of ways, and we have like a lot of heart issues and things, and like that could be seen in a multi-dimensional ways and whatnot. But yeah, this blend that I made for specifically for women's health and women's heart health and emotional well-being and all of that, it's called Heart and Soul, and it has mother's wort and hawthorn leaf, berry, and flower, and lemon balm and rose petals. Yeah, all those nourishing different things. And that one just tastes amazing to me. I just put it right under my tongue. Some of them don't like taste as pleasant, but they are, like, if you put them under your tongue and you hold them there, that's the best way for it to absorb into the bloodstream. But some of them are just really just they just feel so good and taste so good at the same time. And that's one of them, the Heart and Soul blend. And then I have another one called Clarity, Calm and Focus, which that's got skullcap and lemon balm and passion flower and oat straw. And it kind of reminds me of the Rest, Reset, and Restore, because
I was going to say, that's what's in here.
got some of the
Okay.
same herbs in there. And yeah, one of my friends was telling me that they loved that one in the morning, and that made them feel so good and kind of just more clear about things. And I was just like, I always love to hear all the benefits and that good feedback from someone else who, it's contributing to their well-being. And so that always makes me happy. And so I have two big ones that I just made with the new moon, recreating those ones, because I'm almost out in my little store of those two blends. But those were like some of the it was just so much fun just to play and put those together, and then harvest them and enjoy them, and then give them, and see that they are helping other people, and that they make, they help other people feel well. So
Yeah, I have a couple of tonics and tinctures of yours, and I love the winter tonic. That's like, I'm so drawn personally to like balsam and fir, spruce, pine, and whatever. And like firs just speak to my soul. So I really love that I have the winter tonic here. And yeah, I just love the balsam. It's so yummy.
yeah, they're so awesome, and they open us up to help us breathe, and yeah, just take in more of everything. And yeah, one of the dietas that I had done years ago was with the pinyon pine, and that was a super interesting diet. And that one has to do with, it can help us release guilt and grief and all of that kind of stuff. And so we can tend to hold that in certain parts of our bodies, you know. And so I really loved that one too. And just to look at the tree, say of you know, the gift that we are consuming, and to see what qualities that they hold for us, and that they, you know, that they reflect and express like through this life.
Yeah, I'm drawn to like a lot of different pines, and like also like the plant, the tree, the aroma, the flavor. You know, I have a pine that grows right up, I can see it through my skylight, and it's so uplifting. And balsam to me feels like warming and cooling at the same time. It's really fascinating.
Yes. And it's actually got more herbs in that one, in the winter tonic, for like warming and stimulating and different things, and for relaxing. And the balsam fir is really awesome because it does, it is so good for winter time. And it does kind of have it can have a sedative effect with some people, that I've realized, because I shared it with several different people for the holidays last year and this year. And with some people, I just say, be careful for the first time, you know, you try it, you might want to try it at night to see how you feel, because after some people take it, they just feel like, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm so relaxed now. I'm just going to go right to bed. But it hasn't had like that effect on me, but I know that several people that it has had that effect. So
Yeah, and the winter tonic, I want to just add like tonic water to it and drink it like an alcoholic beverage because it's so good.
I
It's
do have
so
a balsam fir tincture, just a plain tincture. And I do this balsam fir chai. I don't know if you've tried that.
oh
That one's a great one for winter. So I'll have some things for you. Next time I see you, I have a ton of winter tonic behind me.
yeah,
So yeah,
loving it, loving it.
so easy to make too. It really is so easy to make.
Yeah, I would like just drink it like out of a shot glass.
Mhm.
The
And
winter tonic.
that's
So
what it actually was. It was an inspiration from a recipe that I had found for a winter infused gin. And so I have had a lot of fun doing like different wild cocktails and making my own gins and stuff. And there are different herbs that you would put in it for winter versus what you would do for a gin for summertime. So
well, now I'm gonna have to come over to your house for like the summer gin cocktails to see what those taste like.
it's dangerously good.
I wouldn't call it dangerous because there's all these health properties in it. So I wouldn't feel guilty. I would feel like this is supportive in some way to like my well-being. Isn't that where it's all about? Getting all the magic of the plant spirit goodness into my body. Yay. You know, so why don't you share for everyone how they can order all of this magical yumminess from you?
Yes, I do have a website and a little store that is just the basic bones right now, and I plan to add content and information and links and different things, because I always love passing those on, because I love learning about all of these different plants and all of their different qualities, and the, you know, everything they can help contribute to. And so yeah, just the basics of some of the products that I have made. They are on my website at Three Fates. Yeah, and it's three, a numeral three with a capital FATE. Yep, there you go.
All right. The number three, fatesmagic.com. And I realized today, after placing my next order, that I am out of your candied ginger, which I also, like I do with everything, grind up in my coffee grinder. And I actually take ashwagandha root that I have a huge bag of, and I put that in there with the ginger and grind it up together. And then I throw it in like an herb shaker, like a salt and pepper shaker type thing, like a little, and I just sprinkle it on top of everything because it's so good. And ashwagandha is so good for you. Ginger is so good for you. So it's just like, ooh, and it's got like your ginger is super strong and amazing. It's like a super potent candied ginger, and you use, instead of, a lot of candied sugar has, or candied ginger has sugar on it, and yours uses maple, which I prefer. So that's nice.
That sounds so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. And like I need more of that ginger. So I gotta order some. And then, I sprinkle it on all my teas, which is delicious.
So glad you're enjoying them.
Yeah, they are awesome. And that's why I wanted to have you on, because just to like share everything that you make and do. And what is it? I just remembered, like, what does my son call you? Generate or something like that? Yeah, generate. Juna called you that. And it's so fitting because you're always like creating wonderful things like herbs and tinctures and teas and kombuchas and hosting gatherings and then doing paint pours. You're just always like a powerful generator for well-being. And that's what we're here for, right? Like Well-Being Wednesday.
Yeah, because all of it is part of the well.
Yes, part of the well. And that's what speaks to me about the word well-being personally, is that like sense of a deep well springing up, and tapping into the source of good and of life and of being. That's the well-being that we're here to, you know squeeze the juice from.
And it's fun to look at it in different ways. Yeah. And metaphor.
Yeah, it is and has been just wonderful spending time with you today, Jen. And I just want to say thank you for joining me and taking the time out of your day to share all of this knowledge and wisdom and um, intuition you've gleaned with all of us. It's just such a privilege to have you on.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you and to share.
Yes, and thank you all for watching today and joining us and having the privilege of having an audience. It's just so nice to know that there are people out there that care about their well-being, care about their health, and want to do something about it. And so I'm just welcome you all to place your orders with Three Fates Magic on this wonderful Well-Being Wednesday, and then have a wonderful week. Thank you all. Bye.